Hey everyone, it's Honest Stewie here, and I've just watched a movie that was a massive letdown. It's called Werewolves, and it stars Frank Grillo, and it's on Paramount Plus. And I watched the trailer for it, and I seen the cover. First things first, I saw the cover, like the poster for it, and I thought, finally, I'm getting a werewolf, because the werewolf movies I've watched, one was I watched on Prime, where it was inside his head. It turns out he wasn't the werewolf. He was there's how the kid depicted him. And there was one I watched where it was a mint movie. It was called, I say 8 for Silver, but it was called The Cursed. But I think they should have stuck with 8 for Silver because it was amazing. But again, it wasn't a werewolf. It was more of a hybrid. It was more of like a disease. The new movie that's come out, the new werewolf one, I haven't seen it yet, but I've heard it's more like a disease than a wolf. It turns into a wolf, but it's not a fluffy wolf. This, fluffy wolves, dog soldier wolves, right? Dog Soldiers is my favourite werewolf movie, by the way. I will throw that in here before I get into this. Dog Soldiers is amazing. If you haven't seen it, highly recommend it. Put aside the acting. Alfred's in it, out of Gotham. Alfred. It's mint. It's class. But with this movie, I thought, yes, they've got the design right. Frank Grillo versus a werewolf. This is how the cover looked. So I clicked the trailer and I watched the trailer, and it turns out it looks more like Underworld. And it looks more like there's multiple werewolves, and it's kind of like they have to survive the night, basically. And I will get into it. So what I do is, my worry with the trailer is what happened with the movie. So with this trailer I watched, I thought it's going to take itself too seriously. I hope it doesn't. I hope it leans into the goofiness, but also has a good story to it. A bit like Dog Soldiers. It didn't take itself too seriously, but it had enough acting and enough tension there for it to be a legit horror movie. Like, you were laughing at times, but you were also tense on the edge of your seat at times and rooting for people to live, even though you know they're going to die at times. So I thought this is going to be this movie. So anyway, I'll delve into it. I'll let you know what's going on. So first things first, why I thought it was going to be really goofy is because there's goofy stuff to it. So it opens up, lets you know what happens, how the werewolves came. Supermoon is what it's called. A supermoon. So I think they can't take this seriously if they call it a supermoon. And then what they use is to prevent turning into a werewolf. So what they do is so many times a year, you get a supermoon, and it turns people into werewolves. And then once that moon's gone, and it's next day, they turn back to people. It's not very well explained, but you can figure that out. Nothing is very well explained in this movie, to be honest with you, which is my gripe. It goes to Frank Grillo's character, shows him fixing up the fences. It shows him gearing up for something. It shows him getting everything set, and you know it's werewolves. It tells you straight away, so you can see him setting up for the night. There's going to be a supermoon, in other words, and there's a scientist guy on the TV who is like, right, I'm going to experiment. I'm going to put 4 people in a cage, and I'm going to have them turn. I'm going to have the moon on them. If the moon hits you, you turn, basically. So that moon will turn you into a werewolf, like an Underworld style werewolf. So, right, I'm thinking, right, here we go. We've got 4 people in the cage ready to turn to wolves. So anyway, we do a little bonding. We have a crazy guy with paint on his face. Hoorah, that guy. Shooting and bullets, and Frank Grillo's like, he's shooting at the beginning, and Frank Grillo's like, you could hit my family, and the guy doesn't care really. He's ready to kill some wolves, even though my little gripe with the movie is, we all know the golden rule: silver kills wolves. This doesn't really matter. Seems like bullets can kill them. But then I don't know. It's weird. It doesn't explain anything that way. So I'm going anyway. We go on with Frank Grillo's bit. I'll get into it. I'm going off track here. So we go to Frank Grillo's character, and then it cuts to this base. What I'm on about with the werewolf mutants. So they lock them all in cages. They've signed up for this. Bearing in mind, there's a woman in there, our main protagonist with Frank Grillo. There's a woman in there, one of our other main protagonists. She has a love interest, pretty much husband, gets put in there, says, don't worry, love, I'm going to turn. But no, I'm not going to turn, because that's the whole thing, they're not going to turn. I'm going to, even if I do turn, I won't attack you. I'll control it. You know, basically saying I'm not going to get you. Don't worry. So the other three, there's two crazy ones, very much up for it, and then there's a woman who wants to back out last minute. Doesn't happen. Obviously, very dumb. She's like, oh, I don't want to tell us that you signed up for it. You knew what was coming, and basically they spray this stuff on them, and it's called moon screen, right? Take a guess what that tries to do. Block the moonlight so they don't turn. So they spray them a moon screen, right? Bearing in mind this is 4 of them, right? If that moon hits anybody out of there, they'll turn. People are all aware of it, but it doesn't really explain that bit very well. So I'm going to go to the next bit. Basically, the moon goes, all hell breaks loose. They all turn and it all goes wrong. And that leads to Frank Grillo and the main protagonist, Frank Grillo, and our other main protagonist, lady, surviving the night. I'm thinking, yes, right, okay, it's goofy. Starts off goofy. It's taking itself a bit seriously, but it looks like it's going to be mint. So we cut to the daughter in the house with the aunt. I'm going to say aunt. She calls Frank Grillo, freaking out on the phone because there's the werewolf guys turned, the army guys turned. And he's banging on an electric gate trying to get in. Now, and bearing in mind, there's no way he can get him. She decides, instead of just leaving him be, to spray him in the face with this pepper spray stuff that's on the fence. So winds him up. So there's a very funny scene where he's washing it out the eyes as in a werewolf form, and I think that's funny. Like I said, the designs of him are perfect. And some of the gore's mint. Anyway, she does that. There's a car scene where Frank Grillo crashes into a bus. Cuts away from that. Cuts to her bloody praying. Saying, oh, I don't want these wolves to get out, you know, all this praying crap. And I was just looking at the missus, I was like, this is what I was worried about. Like, it's taking itself seriously. It thinks it's something it's not. Like, it thinks it's a serious movie. The werewolves are goofy. The guy clearly dies at the beginning of it, but he comes back as a werewolf and his wound's healed. So I said to Shell, I said to the missus, I said, does this mean that, because there was a guy, the main guy, like some guy was bleeding out. It was the guy who was bleeding out, and I was like, well, couldn't you just give him to the werewolf, have him turn, and then he'll be healed the next day when he turns back human? But it doesn't explain that. It doesn't really, it does do that, but obviously he turns, and anyway, all hell breaks loose, basically, like I said. So we cut to her praying for ages as well, a good 5-10 minutes of her praying, with a daughter there. And bear this in mind, this is my gripe with the movie. She, the one in the house with the daughter, I'm going to get onto what I didn't like about her and why I think she was the worst character in this movie and absolutely ruins the movie, right? She has a weaponry. Frank Grillo is geared up. He has guns. He has traps. He has the lot. She does not look for them. She finds a shotgun, a few shells, and proceeds to just basically panic and not do anything right. So I will let you know, not to go over the whole movie, but my gripe with the movie I'm going to let you know in a minute. But what I'm going to do is let you know what I did like about the movie, which is the middle bit. They have this stuff on them so the werewolves can't smell them, but it wears off and they're hiding. So there is some tense scenes where the werewolves are smashing up the cars because they don't like the cars, they don't like the alarms. And there's this design of a werewolf that I've got to point out. There's a goth werewolf, and it's got like a punk werewolf. It's got a mohawk and everything, because there's a punk guy who's turned, and that I liked. That I really liked. And I thought, oh, it's going to go really goofy. Bear this in mind, this is just after the crash. Frank Grillo survives with that other character. I nearly said his missus then, which I thought, you know, these two were getting a bond on the go, and then it shows that people are selling werewolves. It doesn't delve into that anymore. Anyway, we never see that again. And anyway, I'm getting thingy here. What I'll do is I'll cut a bit here, skip a bit, so I don't miss anything. Ooh, that was my ankle. So basically, we get that scene out the trailer where Frank Grillo's on that minigun. So we see them people on the minigun and automatically assume, oh yeah, they're great, they must be mercenaries. Anyway, they shoot some of the wolves and then they get messed up by the wolves. And there's a very grim scene. that I think is a bit out of place in the movie for the thing. That's what I mean by it takes it seriously. A guy gets his face set off pretty much, and I thought it was a bit much, considering it was just I don't know what it was going for, and I don't think it knew what it was going for. So anyway, we skip all that. Frank Grillo gets on a minigun. We do the whole minigun thing, and the woman's in a car. Right, she gets dragged by a werewolf, and it's like the werewolf flies with her. She literally just gets dragged in the sky, and she is never mentioned again. The 4 werewolves from the beginning may as well not have been in the movie. None of them exist. Her husband's never shown again. The other 3 aren't shown again. It just goes on this random punk wolf. And they say, oh, there's a scene I've got to let you know this. This is absolutely stupid, right? And it's why I wanted it to go goofy. Oh my God, before she gets dragged off, this woman, because she's smart, you know, she's a scientist, she's got very good brains, goes right up into the face of the goth wolf and screams at it, like literally just screams, like you would do a grizzly bear if it runs at you. No, you don't scream. No, a black bear, there we go. Grizzly, don't scream at a grizzly. But you stand your ground anyway, and she's like, it's all about dominating, and she's just about, like, the wolf sort of kind of gets there. Anyway, the wolf's about to mess her up because she's so dumb. She probably screams, it's out of nowhere as well. And Frank Grillo just nails the wolf down with bullets and just absolutely knocks up the wolves. And for some reason, I don't know how, she gets, like I said, she gets dragged. She just flies away. And she is never seen, spoken to, or thought about again. She vanishes out. Bearing in mind, this is near the end of the movie. Bearing in mind, we've had the whole movie to bond with her. Bearing in mind, this is the woman out of Heart Eyes, the villain out of Heart Eyes. So I like her anyway, because I like the actress. She's the only good actress in it. Nah, never heard again. There's no blood. There's no body. We don't know. And it just goes back to the house. And it goes back to, this is the bit I'm getting at. The woman in the house. She is so dumb. Like, the other woman was dumb. Yeah, she was dumb. But this one brings in, like, she's dumber. So the other one was dumb. This woman's dumber. So basically, like I said, Frank Grillo, full armoury. The next door guy was the army guy. Now he's geared up. So all you need to do is get next door. But Frank Grillo has fortified this house. So you don't even need to leave the house. The werewolves, the guy gets more werewolves and they all pile on the fence. And he sees the power post outside of the fence. Which I don't know why you wouldn't build the fence around the power post so they don't climb it for one thing and jump over. But the movie doesn't take this in consideration. Again, taking itself seriously, but then has goofy stuff like that. So anyway, he pulls down a thing and it breaks the fence and the power thing goes. So instead of her looking for guns all the time, they're banging on the fence. She knows they're going to get in. They're even smart enough to break the cameras. She knows they're going to get in. It's inevitable they're going to get in that house. Right? Instead of being smart and thinking, that next door guy has a shitload of guns, I'll go next door, get the guns, while they're out there banging the fence, drag them, you know, get the guns in. I'll actually rummage in my own house for guns, because Frank Grillo will have guns. He's military. He has guns in there, all over the place. So, instead of that, she grabs a shotgun on the side, and there's about 6 shells. And she holds the shotgun like, I'm ready. And I'm like, you're not, love. You're really not. So anyway, the werewolves break down, start climbing all over the house. Bearing in mind, this house is fortified, right? So they're banging on the roof, but they're not going to get in. There's no way of them breaking in, I don't think. She shoots the roof, right? Obviously misses. Breaks the roof. Bear another thing in mind, the moonlight can't hit you, it'll turn you. So she shoots the roof. What's in the sky? Giant moon. You know, the super moon. Super moon. See, I'm so mad, honestly. It should have took itself way too seriously, and it should have been self-aware and just being goofy and fun. But it was so serious, and her acting, I think she could act. I think it was her script. It was just trash. Anyway, she shoots the roof about 4 times, right? She only has 2 clips. No. Bear this in mind. No, actually, I messed up with the count. She's got 4 left. She had 8 altogether. Because I forgot about the door bit. So anyway, there's a door. Metal door. And then there's a fence behind the door. And then there's wood on the door. There's no way nothing's getting through that door. So anyway, she thinks she sees a wolf there. And she shoots at the door 4 times. Bear this in mind. She has a door behind her. Bear this in mind. She only has 4 clips left. She's already messed the roof up. Anyway, she shoots out of bullets. Surprise, surprise. The wolf somehow finds a way in because she's shot. So it gets itself in through the garage, I think, or something. I don't know. Somewhere where she wasn't shooting, put it that way. Anyway, she's out of bullets, so she grabs a knife. She just throws a shotgun away, grabs a knife, and anyway, Frank Grillo is rushing back home because he knows the wolves are going to get in his house. So he gets there, but before he gets there, she's with her daughter, and she thinks it's a good idea to have a little heart-to-heart with her while the wolves are all over. So she slows it down. Hide in this cupboard. The wolves won't find you. Don't worry, you'll be fine. Bear this in mind, these don't have to spray on. The wolves can smell them a mile off. She will not be fine in that cupboard. And she only has a knife. A kitchen knife too. Anyway, because she's dumb. And so instead of looking for other guns, gearing the daughter up with some guns. I know it sounds a bit thingy, but the daughter's quite smart. It's the daughter's smartest one in the movie, to be honest with you. So anyway, we go through that, fast forward that. Frank Grillo gets home. There's a very mint bit where he runs over a load of werewolves, I'll admit, that was pretty fun. And he gets in the house, and you see her there, and she's like, I'm out of ammo when you got this knife, blah, blah, blah. And Frank Grillo gets the idea, which is where I think the movie would have been unreal if it worked. Again, wasn't self-aware. Frank Grillo gets an idea, which is what I wanted, to turn himself into a werewolf, because it's nearly morning. There's only like 15 minutes left, and it's morning. Oh, excuse me. And he turns himself into a werewolf to fight the paint guy, because he's relentless, right? So he runs one over and pins it against the wall, and he takes out quite a lot of them, except paint guy. So anyway, he turns into a werewolf, and I have to say, Frank Grillo's ripped anyway. He's ripped anyway. But when he's a werewolf, my God, because they have 6-packs, and they're like ripped. This is what I mean. They look mint. The design of them is unreal. The design of them I do not knock. The design of them is why I wanted to watch the movie in the first place. So anyway, we have a werewolf fight, and to be honest with you, it's good. The last fight's good. And miraculously, this woman in the house finds a magic shotgun bullet that she missed in the moonlight. So she gets a shotgun bullet, she loads up the shotgun, and Frank Grillo tears the head off the wolf and absolutely destroys him. And he's in the house, he's banging on the door, and anyway, he gets in, and she's like, oh, remember, it's me. Oh. Anyway, she has a shotgun and shows him a photo of him and his brother, and you remember this? And he's there, and you can see it's him. He's in control. Does stereotypical thing of diving on her. He's not going to hurt her. You can tell he's not going to hurt her. Has a moment. If it wasn't for the sunrise, that last shotgun bullet, she was gonna shoot his head off. She was gonna kill him. She was straight up going to shoot him. Bear this in mind. This would be the only werewolf she's killed in the movie. She was gonna kill him. Saved her life. Came back around at the end. You could tell he wasn't gonna hurt her. He just did a little, because it's animal, you know. She was gonna shoot him straight up. And then the sun rises and it turns back to Frank Grillo, and I think, oh, we're going to see the other geezer then and find out about what happened with his wife near the end. So obviously she's going to be alive and he's going to be back him. Not that he was used at all. It ends, just straight up ends. Like it literally cuts off. There's no ending to this movie. It just cuts off. But it's not like a part 1. It's a one and done movie. They're not doing no more. It just ends. Like, there's nothing to it. There's no answers. There's no development, really. There's no clear bits if they survived or not. You don't know if they're going to turn again the next day. Like, there's no way, like, you know, when night hits, they're going to turn back to wolf. Is Frank Grillo cured? Is that it? And it annoyed me so much because I wanted it to be a goofy movie. I wanted it to be, or if it was serious, I wanted it to be good. And it just didn't know where it landed, didn't know what it wanted to do with the story. And quite frankly, I think, like, they had one of the worst characters I've seen in a movie in a long time. Like, she was so dumb. Don't get me wrong, the other one was dumb screaming in a werewolf's face. There's zero way you would survive that. Like, there was no way she would have survived anyway with that. But the fact that she just got literally, like, I don't know, maybe there's a vamp wolf in it. A vampire werewolf. Because it bloody, she just gets dragged in the sky and she's gone. Like, even Frank Grillo's like, what the hell's going on here? She just vanishes to the abyss. And is never thought about, mentioned again. And the same with her husband. He may as well not be in the movie. And the crazy guys may as well not be in the movie. And the woman who didn't want to turn may as well not be in the movie. Basically, I put it on thinking it was going to be at least so bad it's good. And at least a bit self-aware of that. Or even if it's not self-aware of that, sometimes so bad it's good can work. Nah, ignore, I like Chris Stuckman, but ignore his review on this. It's not good. It's bad. It is a really bad movie. There's no denying this is a terrible movie. I wanted to like it too. I love werewolves, and this was a proper werewolf movie. It was terrible. The only best design of a werewolf I've seen, Dog Soldiers, but Van Helsing. Do you remember Van Helsing's werewolf? That werewolf was mint. He was fluffy. And the vampire. That was the best vampire design I've seen when he went full vampire form. They were the best that I've seen, with the girls as well. The vampire ladies. They were the best vampire design I've seen. As much as I do love Sinners, and I do love the design in Sinners, they look human still. It's just red eyes and a few claws at the end and teeth. Well, I did like it showed the marks on them when they died. But Van Helsing, it was full on vampire. And what's the other one? Fright Night. I liked Fright Night. I liked Colin Farrell. I liked the fact you're seeing the wings and the actual vampire at the end. Because that's my gripe with vampire movies. Like Nosferatu. There's another one with mint design. Mind you, he just looks it throughout, doesn't he? He looks like a vampire throughout the whole movie. Anyway, the best werewolf design's Van Helsing. And I think it should have went down the fact this movie should have went down the bit of you can control yourself. You're just more, it brings out your animal instinct is what it should have done the route of. And it should have done the route of some of them are good, some of them are bad, and we should have saw werewolf fights throughout the movie. And it should have been Frank Grillo and one being like, damn, they're fighting, and just surviving the fight. Because that would have been mint if they were fighting each other. But again, it would have been goofy because, again, sunscreen, moonscreen, supermoon, and just, gosh, honestly, I was expecting it to be like Underworld, but let down. So again, this movie let me down. So if you enjoyed this video, I'll be doing some more videos like this. I'm going to be doing another review on probably a top 5 games I've played. I'm doing that Dark Anthology. I've got a lot to say about that as well. And just have a little look, see what movies are out. I've got to watch that Danny Dyer one. That Marching Powder. Danny Dyer. I think I sounded like him then, I don't know. What's going on my hair? Anyway, I'll see you in the next video where I go over that, and I'll have my hair cut by then too. Ciao for now. Ta-ta.